me ask you, first of all, just how the landscape has changed now that the president has signed this legislation, albeit somewhat begrudgingly, heightening sanctions, as I mentioned, and also restricting what he's able to do to change the contours of sanctions packages, particularly when it comes to Russia.
Well, the sanctions law is a very, very strong one. This is going to restrict essentially any transactions with Russia's defense and intelligence sectors, with some of its offshore Arctic and deep water energy sector. This will have a real long-term hit on the Russian economy. And so Russia has chosen to retaliate by reducing essentially the staff of the U.S. mission in Russia. It is not anywhere near as significant as what the sanctions bill will do to Russia. But what's interesting is the Trump administration has decided not to come out and condemn the Russian move. Instead, they sort of said they're going to take until September to decide what to do, which is fine. But what they have done that's a little bit odd is echo the Russian talking points on this to suggest that Congress is to blame for the deterioration in our relationship, and that really the administration just wants to get along and essentially move past this.
What's the goal, do you think, for Secretary of State Rex Tillerson with the meeting this week and with the relationship more generally? You look at the previous relationship that Sergei Lavrov had with Secretary of State John Kerry. They were visiting with and talking to each other most weeks, it seemed like. They had what looked like a very close diplomatic relationship. How markedly different is this one, and is that a kind of relationship that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson would like to have with his Russian counterpart?
I think he would. I think he'd like to have a close, amicable relationship with Foreign Minister Lavrov. And of course, that's in everybody's interest, that they speak frequently and that they're able to communicate well with each other. The problem here is not really with the amount or frequency of communication or the amicableness of their relationship. The problem has to do with Russia's actions. It has to do with what they're doing in Ukraine. We had 4 Ukrainian civilians killed over the weekend by either Russian proxies or Russian troops in Ukraine. We have Russia's intervention in Syria. We have their constant social media intervention here in the United States. So until their behavior changes, it's hard to see how the tenor of the relationship writ large changes, regardless of whether there's constant communication or not.